I have this quote for Juan Antonio in the movie of Barcelona: "Only unfulfilled love can be romantic." This is the quote I remember about the movie. So we first understand the voice search environment. We take a look technically how a voice search is handled by Google. And then we give you some tips. And finally, we talk about Amazon Alexa. This is the program. AvantGrade is a company based in Switzerland. We do search engine optimization, web analytics, a bit of artificial intelligence. We just rebranded our name. We were Bruce Clay Europe before. We've been in the business of search engine optimization for quite a long time. And we are now based in Switzerland. Voice search, I think now is really like a blue sea. We have so many opportunities, and today we try to make you catch some of those. So this is a search done, you can see it in the query report of Google, by a guy who went on Google, and we don't know if he did it with their voice or by typing. And he writes, a guy with 20 hours weekly contract can get 80,000 euro mortgage. That's quite a long query. The other one, how much time is needed by a retired person to get a loan of 35,000 for repairing a flat? So we look at this search, and we went to look at the IP address of the search. It was the 30th of October. And actually, the search was coming from this city that was damaged by like a kind of hurricane. So you see that when people start to be able to say a search instead of writing, they probably say more, and you get a real story behind that. So when you look at these queries, they are not just keywords, but they are really stories. And the voice search is much more insightful because it's like natural language, and basically there is a story behind. You don't need to write, you don't need to type, and you just say it like you normally do with people. So voice search creates a new paradigm. When people will start to use it more, we, digital marketers, will not think anymore about keywords, but we'll think about questions. And this is really changing. And this is going quite fast. And you see how this really changes the way we have to, what targets do we have, what kind of keywords do we care for. Why people search with voice? I've been using the voice search for many years. How many of you are using the voice search, by the way? So we are in the industry, so quite a few. I like it because it's faster. It's multitasking. You don't need your hands on the keyboard or on the smartphone. And you don't need visual attention, which is very good, especially if you are driving. And you see a lot of people driving with their smartphone. And with voice search, they will be able to search and to get an answer without really having their eyes occupied. And this is really important. The voice search is mostly used for, let's say, asking forecasts about the weather, information about sports scores. If you are a sport fan, you really want to know the score in real time, and you can do it with voice, and it gives you the result. Cooking and many other things. Teens and adults, they use it in a different way. If you look at children, they totally use it in the full potential mode, while adults, they use it in a different way. If you look at really teens, they kind of play with voice search. For them, it's like natural. For us, it depends. What happens when you do a search on Google? What happens on the Google server? So first and foremost, I think it's important that everybody knows. Yesterday night we were discussing about that. These devices, they are always on the recording mode. To activate the search on Google, you have a little button. And when you click on it, it makes a sound, right? If you use it, you know it. So I went back and listened to my activity. The search activity is recorded. The voice search is a file, audio file recorded. So I went back, and you can do the same. You just log into your Google account and see my activity. and I listened to some of the searches I did with my voice. And I realized that the search was recording before I was pushing the button, because the sound of a button was falling after 1 second. I investigated, and nobody really gave me an answer in Google, but one guy said, we don't want to miss anything. Maybe it's not a quiet place, you want to risk to miss your voice search. So basically, that's what they told me. You can do the same. And I found out this 2.5 years ago. So it's quite, for me, an established information. Please go back to your activity on Google and take a look if this applies to you too, and let me know. You can find me on LinkedIn, Agostini. Please let me know. I'm doing a kind of a survey on that. So when you do the query, it's interesting to what happens. First, the speech is recognized automatically. Then there is a transcription. And then there is a query understanding. So Google's trying to find out if you're discussing about entities like Barcelona, restaurants. And because of this query understanding, they classify it, and they might rephrase what you say. So if you say something wrong, they change it. They don't do like when you type, that they tell you, you type a wrong word and they tell you, did you mean this? They don't do that. They directly change it. Then there are some sort of scoring and then adjustment, and then you have a ranking. So that's how it works. It's slightly different. From their point of view, it requires much more energy. Auto-speech recognition is very reliable. If you are using it in English, you know it works very well. Query understanding is very important, so you have to really think about the entities and the structured data behind the query. And there is any information about the structured data, you really have to focus on that, on your target, and on the way you build the pages. We will look at that later. Here the connection is not very, very good, but if you have a connection and you have a Google app and you know how to use a voice search, try to say restaurants or ristoranti, Rondon, not London. What will happen if you say instead of London, Rondon? Google answers you for the query, restaurants, London. It just rewrites it. So you're not allowed to make a mistake. Try afterwards when you have more connection. So let's give some tips about the Google Voice Assistant. Some practical SEO tips so that you can go back. So the voice search is mostly mobile. And it's becoming home assistant. How many of you have a home assistant like Google Home or Alexa? Alexa, I see someone. By the way, the Q&A session, you guys do the question and Alexa will answer. This is the new innovation we're giving today. So that's Alexa, that's the mobile. So I always start with the keyword research. And I start with the solid keyword research when I also look at the low volume searches, because usually the low volume searches that are long, they usually are voice search. And so you want to understand if your keywords are more referred to action, you want to target action, or you want to target awareness, interest, desire. So you really make a keyword research by looking at also how the people are asking the question. Are they typing or are they just saying that? Generic keyword, more specific. Usually the voice search are more specific. They are the so-called long tail. And this is what really is about the voice search. Is it a voice search or is it a typed search? How do you know? Does anybody has an idea? How do you know if a search has been typed or has been said? Misspelling? But let's say you look at a query report with many keywords. How do you know if these keywords have been typed or if they have been said?